Trump's talking $2,000 stimmy checks again. The government's burning through $2 trillion in debt every year like it's pocket change. The Fed's hinting at new rate cuts, and housing agencies, they're floating 50-year mortgages. Is that what they meant by "you will own nothing and be happy"? Because apparently helping millennials and Gen Z buy a home means giving us a lifetime payment we'll probably never complete.
So you'll just work us to death?
We'll sure try.
Meanwhile, over in Europe, rules slated for 2027 will require ID when using crypto asset service providers for transfers above €1,000. They're calling this stability. I call it panic in slow motion. The people in charge are pretending everything's fine, but you feel it's not.
Aim nozzle at base of fire. That is typical.
You know it in your gut. The question is, what are they hiding? And how much longer can they keep the illusion alive? Welcome back to Simply Bitcoin's Satoshi. I'm Sophie, and tonight we're cutting through the headlines and hopium and the gaslighting, because if you're working harder, paying more, and still feeling like you're falling behind, you're not crazy. You're just living through the end of fake prosperity.
The United States and Europe live in a fantasy world. It's completely disconnected from how the rest of the world lives. And anyone listening to this that hasn't experienced what a capital control is, I would argue is like 5% of the world population. Like the majority of us have experienced capital controls. China, Nigeria, Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, like you go down the list. And what a capital control is you don't have freedom you don't have financial freedom. You're repressed. And that's how most of the world lives. That's why Bitcoin is such a game changer to so many people. That's why stable coins are such a game changer for so many people. Most people aren't even allowed to hold dollars in their local banks. What did you do before stable coins? Hoard cash?
This is so true.
If you make, this is another point that sometimes goes unnoticed. If you're a person making $50 a month, okay? And you get paid at the end of the month and you try to get your bolívares, get rid of them, and you have to buy cash because there's nothing else you can buy. You don't have a Wells Fargo account or a Bank of America account to get digital dollars into. So your only option is really cash. So say you go out there, you're Maria, you're a nurse, you got paid on Friday and you went and got rid of your bolívares and somebody on the street gave you a fake 50. What happens to Maria?
This is horrible.
Her whole month's work, gone. And I've seen this.
And people prey on each other in these weak moments. It's horrible.
100%. Because desperation leads to you making rational decisions.
No wonder this is so personal for you. It's amazing.
Hugely personal for me. Like to me, this is the biggest fight that I want to help win. I don't think there's a bigger fight.
The data says boom. The vibes say bust. We keep hearing the economy is strong, but 70% of Americans can't afford a median home. That's just the reality. Groceries are up 30% since 2020. Credit card debt just hit $1.3 trillion, the highest in history. The stock market is rallying, sure, but it's not from real growth. It's the same easy money just dressed up as policy support. They're using your future income to pay for today's illusion of stability. So it's not prosperity, it's more like performance art. It's a bunch of artists pretending to do something heroic while we all pretend it's talent.
You must save to invest, don't use the printing press, or a bus will surely follow, an economy depressed. Your so-called stimulus will make things worse. Just more of the same, more incentives perverse. And that credit crunch ain't a liquidity trap, just a broke banking system. I'm done, that's a wrap.
God, the kids at NYU are gonna love that one, because it's true. I think once they found out that Marina Abramovic was a demon, that was it for performance art. But anyway, I digress. Remember when they said the era of easy liquidity was over? Yeah. about that.
Silicon Valley Bank has collapsed and federal regulators have taken control.
Trying to stem any sort of contagion effect.
Impacting tech startups, leaving customers in limbo.
Raising concerns about the broader economy.
If we hadn't been driving our economy with easy money and then trying to really quickly undo that, we wouldn't be having these problems now.
James Lavish summed it up perfectly this week. Trump is floating $2,000 checks, the FHFA is considering 50-year mortgages, and the U.S. government continues to run $2 trillion deficits. Please tell me again how the era of easy liquidity and asset inflation is ending. Exactly, because it's not. It's mutating. Every politician knows the truth. They can't let the system actually deleverage, not without crashing it. So instead, they extend, pretend, and print.
What do you say to analysts out there that are claiming that we're not going to see QE?
Well, they can rebrand it. I mean, they can call it something different. But if they do not grow the underlying base money and the credit within the system will seize up and fail the way it did in 2019 when he did his last pivot. So, fine, call it something different. I mean, just like Silicon Valley Bank, when they bailed that out, they created a new thing called BTFP, whatever. Buy the effing paper. I mean, there'll be some new name for whatever this thing is.
All that to say, stimulus is back on the menu. Just a little rebranded. Housing support, debt relief, market stability. All of it is inflation with an all-star PR team. And now they're floating the 50-year mortgages like that's supposed to help. Us, we just want to buy a home, sir. The government, we've got a sick payment plan that you'll never pay back in your lifetime, LOL. Is that what they meant by you will own nothing and be happy back in 2020? Because apparently we're supposed to celebrate lower monthly payments that feel like progress when in reality, two things are going to happen. One, most median homeowners will be paying over $500,000 more in interest payments. And two, literally both of them could happen at the same time, time will outlast us and we'll never actually own our homes in our lifetime. They're not helping you to own, they're helping the banks own you. A 50-year mortgage isn't a policy, it's a lifetime subscription to debt. And then there's the opportunist perspective. Just invest the $365 difference from a 50-year loan into Bitcoin. Compound it 20% a year and you'll end up with $445 million. Yeah, sounds great on paper, but here's the reality check. Who's actually doing that? Like, have you seen an episode of Financial Crisis by Caleb Hammer? Most young people are drowning in debt, juggling rent, student loans, and the cost of life in an economy where emergencies are just waiting to wreck your life savings. Inflation goes up, groceries go up, car insurance goes up, and that $365 miracle investment plan, it goes to fixing your car or paying for daycare. The powers that be want you to believe that this system still works because it looks fine on paper, but underneath, there's a plague that's quietly consuming people's freedom to actually live their lives.
We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad.
You can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. This system is not sustainable, not without getting off the fiat standard entirely. And that's exactly why Bitcoin exists.
Digital ID is essential to the whole idea of the social credit score and any of these other, Orwellian designs that, at least enough people I hope know by now, is part and parcel of this agenda. And I think, again, it comes up to people having to make a choice. And the way they do this is through, they try and get us to comply with this is through convenience. It's convenience to opt in. It's convenient to have a digital ID. It's convenient to have, money on your phone and have your whole life be based on your smartphone and all of this. It's convenient to vote once every 4 years for one of the two lesser evils in all of this. But really, it's the convenience that they're using to enslave us. And it's inconvenient to find ways to opt out of these systems and change your life so that you're more resilient and your life is actually sustainable for you and your family and your community. It's perhaps inconvenient to get out off of the couch and off of the chair and go meet your neighbors physically and stop being on the online world so much, and making real human connections and real human solutions to the problems we're facing. Because, I mean, again, that's why during COVID, the lockdowns, I think, were a big part of it, to keep people isolated, to keep people from connecting and force people to feel like they could only connect with others through this virtual world that these people control, because they control the infrastructure, the software, and the platforms. So I think, people need to consider that this convenience is really the carrot. Maybe there will be a stick at some point, but they seem to be focused a lot on the carrot and the idea of having us voluntarily adopt these things because it's easy, the way they're setting things up, or it will be easy. Or they'll frame it that way at least. But I think it's very important for people to realize that they have the power. Otherwise, they wouldn't be investing all this money to manipulate us and pitch us on this. And we should take the power back as people. And we do that by taking actions in our own lives and doing things in our neighborhoods and our communities and with our families. And realizing that this is not where we want to go at the end of the day. And there is so much we can do. And I think a good starting point, again, is to say no to digital ID. We don't need this biometric digital ID surveillance state that's going to be used not just to surveil what we're doing in real time, but also to predict what we might do in the future. A lot of these plans on the books and things that are being developed by these intelligence agencies are all about predictive policing, meaning pre-crime, and also applying that same methodology to healthcare. Prevent the next pandemic before it happens and all of this stuff. So you don't even need to declare a pandemic anymore to get emergency use authorization or mandates in particular communities and stuff like that. That is the world they are setting up. It is very bad, and we should opt out, and we can opt out.
When governments can't fix the money, they'll start to fix you. Case in point, the European Union's new anti-money laundering package. Starting in 2027, crypto transfers over €1,000 will require ID verification on crypto asset service providers. This is like when the Biden administration wanted people to report transactions over $600. Dark times. Anyway, cash payments over $10,000 in business transactions will be capped. So fine, they won't be asking for ID on every transaction or even touch self-custody because they can't. But as Simply Bitcoin posted in this clarification tweet, every regulation moves in one direction, towards control. So while this won't apply to self-custody, what it will do is set a precedent that it's okay for the government to control how much you spend and keep a record of your transactions for purposes. Surveillance. They say it's about fighting crime, but what it really does is arm the state with reasons to have leverage over individuals who might step out of line. And who's to decide what that line is? In the future, if you're not in their banking system or using their CBDC, you might be treated like a suspect. And why is this happening? Because the more they lose control of the money, the more they tighten control of the people. They broke the currency, and now they're breaking privacy to hide it. After everything happening in Europe, it's clear that the system wants to keep you compliant, not free. Bitcoiners have a different approach. We take power back by securing the network ourselves, and that's what mining is about. Proof of work, not permission. That's where today's sponsor, Sazmining, comes in. Would you mine Bitcoin if it were as easy as buying it? Then you should check out Sazmining. It's not hosted mining. It's mining as a service that actually puts Bitcoiners first. You can own a state-of-the-art mining rig, plug into affordable carbon-free energy, and stack Bitcoin just like Satoshi. No middlemen, no markups, and no worries. Saz doesn't tack on extra fees when you sign up, and unlike other other companies, there are no rig upcharges or inflated power rates. Their entire business model is based on a clean and simple revenue share. They only earn Bitcoin if you are too. A total alignment of incentives and 100% Bitcoiner values. While some claim simplicity, Sazmining actually proves it. Let's just say that if you need a compass to find your miners, you're not in the right place. This is how Bitcoin mining should have always been done. Visit sazmining.com or scan the QR code to learn more and start hashing. By this part of the show, the split reality that we're living in is probably super clear. Markets are booming, but real life feels like a grind because printed money flows uphill. When the Fed turns the liquidity taps back on, that cash doesn't hit your paycheck. It hits asset prices. The people who already own assets, stocks, real estate, ETFs, get richer while everyone else gets squeezed. The wealth gap is a feature, not a bug. And that's why this bull market feels like a recession, because it basically is one for anyone who doesn't already own the game. Before we wrap up, let's talk about something every Bitcoin eventually faces: liquidity. When you're stacking sats, you don't want to sell, but sometimes you need access to cash. That's where our next sponsor comes in. If you're stacking sats, you need Bitcoin-backed services you can trust. That's why we roll with Ledn, the global leader in Bitcoin-backed lending. Ledn has issued over $9 billion in loans since 2018 and a perfect record of protecting client assets. Why is a Ledn loan different? Collateral is not lent out to generate interest. No credit checks. Funds in 24 hours. No monthly payments. Repay whenever you want. Zero penalties. And their proof of reserves, verified every 6 months, keeps them transparent. Ledn lets you unlock liquidity without selling. Sign up through Simply Bitcoin for 25 basis points off your first loan. Scan the QR code or click the link in the show notes below to get your discount today. Now, let's get back to the show. So here's where we are. They're pretending to fix inflation by creating more of it. They're selling you safety while building surveillance. They're printing prosperity while drowning you in debt.
Let me tell you something. In this world, if you can't swim, you bound to drizzle.
But they can't fake scarcity. They can't fake 21 million. They can't fake self-custody. They can't fake freedom. Bitcoin doesn't play their game. It exposes it. You don't buy Bitcoin because you think the number is gonna moon. You buy it because you see the system is already on fire and you'd rather stand outside of it. The prosperity illusion is cracking. The truth is breaking through. And Bitcoin, it's not the escape, it's the exit sign.
Everyone listening to this, Bitcoin is the only way. It's the first time we've all had an exit door. Hear me out on this. If they're going to print a lot of money, usually it's Miami beachfront real estate that goes up a lot, right? Usually it's the early shareholders in Amazon that concentrate wealth and go a lot. What things inflate the most when they print dollars, right? Really good tech stocks, really good real estate, large concentrations of gold. But here's the problem. Not all of us can have gold vaults in our basement protected by strong men and women with guns. Not all of us can afford Miami beachfront real estate or penthouses in Manhattan. Not all of us can found Amazon, can found Apple, but all of us can buy Bitcoin. This is the first time we're going to go through this level of currency debasement around the world and even in the United States, where everyone has access to an exit door. The problem is the exit door isn't big enough for everyone. Not everyone's going to be able to get on the Bitcoin life raft. Think about it. You could have gotten on the life raft when Bitcoin was $6, or then at $60 or $600. Now it's at $60,000, right? And so the door is getting smaller, but it's the first time you could buy $1 of Bitcoin, $10 of Bitcoin, $100 of Bitcoin. It is just the most equitable, fair, open. I mean, it is the way out. So you have to just take it seriously and understand that the government is trying to trick you. If they're growing at 10% and they're giving you back 5%, what the market is saying is they're lying. They're going to debase the currency. If they really cared, they'd go higher. And if they're lying and they're going to debase, you have to run somewhere. And every one of you listening can run into Bitcoin. Not everyone can run into Miami beachfront real estate. Not everyone can run into vaults of gold in their basement. Not everyone can go found Amazon right now out of fear. But you can own Bitcoin. And it's the first time in human history that we have an exit door that is open source, distributed to the people, and engineered in a way that no one can stop that. So don't look back and regret that you had a way out.
If this episode hits home, smash the like button, hit the subscribe, and share this with someone who keeps asking, why do I feel so poor? Because they're right. The fiat system is keeping us all poor. But there's a way out, and you already know. I'm Sophie, stack, slay, and stay bullish, baby.